Hello guys, welcome to A Couple Books. This is Couple, as per usual. Today we may or may not address the wig, but one thing we are going to address is a serious problem that Couple has. And that is the fact that Couple really likes buying books. And Couple kind of forgot that he bought a whole bunch of books. Even though Couple just did a book haul video, we have more book haul videos to be doing. So that is what we're going to be doing today, everybody. So we have quite a few books that I have hauled recently for a variety of reasons. It's best if we don't get into it because the fact is, at the end of the day, I'm wearing a wig, I have too many books, and I have to hide my credit card. So with all those things happening, let us just get into what books I picked up recently, and you guys can let me know down in the comment section which book I should pick up first. As you guys know, I already have too many unread physical books on my bookshelves, but let's add more to it because somebody has a book buying problem. So with that being said, let's get started with today's video. Book haul part 1 of 2, and maybe not we will address the wig. That's to be seen. So I split today's haul into groups of 9. So we've got this is a 2-part video. The first part's going to be the first 9 books I picked up, and the second part is going to be the second group of 9 books I picked up. So I picked up a total of 18 books. And yeah, it's a problem. But I can assure you that it's perfectly fine because now I officially locked myself out of using Amazon and using Book Depository and using my bookstore, and we are going to be reading these books over the rest of the year. So this might be the last book haul video for a while, but I think you guys will appreciate the fact that I've hauled like almost 30 books in the last like 10 days. So let's just get started, why don't we? Okay guys, so the first book that I'm going to be picking up is actually going to be the first 2 books in a series. It is A Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir and A Torch Against the Night, also by Sabaa Tahir. This is the first and second book in this series. What is the series called? That's a great question. We should know the answer to this question. The Ember Quartet. So there's 4 books in the series. I've heard amazing things about this series and I've been wanting to pick it up for a while. In addition to that, the fact that I said I was going to dive into more YA this year, that is also why I picked it up. Also, the premise of, I love the whole like schoolyard thing and the whole like assassin, soldier, school training montage. I love those things so much. So I picked up these 2 books. I'm super excited. As far as I know, basically it's about this orphan whose brother gets kidnapped, and so she has to like go undercover and like infiltrate like a military training academy. I think that's what happens. I'm pretty not sure about the fact of that, but nonetheless, I'm excited to pick up these 2 books and see if I enjoy the series and hopefully finish it if I do enjoy it or if I don't enjoy it. So that is the first round of books I picked up so far. The next book I picked up is going to be The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. So as you guys know, I had an issue with V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I got through like half the first book and then I ended up DNFing it. I am planning on going back and picking it up again. It just didn't vibe with me, but I know V.E. Schwab's a great author and I have absolutely no doubt in her skill. I think that story just didn't interest me at the time, but in the meantime, while I'm getting ready to dive back into that trilogy, I picked up The Near Witch by her, which is super cool. It sounds kind of horror-y. I'm like super stoked for it. I'm like really excited. Supposedly it's about a witch, and this witch, it lives in this town and basically kidnaps kids, and this girl named Lexi, I think is her name, she's kind of like investigating what's going on and whether or not this urban legend of this witch is real or false and whether or not it correlates with the missing kids in the town. So I don't know, it kind of gives me it sounds a little bit horror, campfire story time. I don't know, you guys know what I'm saying. Campfire horror story time. Yeah, it sounds like one of those stories. So I'm kind of excited to pick it up, and I really want to love V.E. Schwab, very much so. So I'm very excited to pick up one of Victoria's earlier books, and I'm excited to see if I like it or not. So that is the next book. The next book I picked up is going to be The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. As you guys know, Stuart Turton is pretty famous because he wrote The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, or the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, depending on what country you bought your book in. But this is his new book, and it's supposedly about people who are on a boat and a murder happens that's basically an impossible murder, and then they have to like do like an investigation and see who done it kind of situation. But I think that there's like some mystical parts that are playing into it, especially if you guys have ever read 7.5 Deaths by Evelyn Hardcastle. You would know that Stuart Turton is not scared of incorporating some more supernatural elements into his story. So I'm excited to pick this up and start reading it and seeing if I enjoy it or not. I've been eyeballing this since it came out, so I'm really excited to get into it, and I'm super excited to just kind of see whether or not I like this one. It's a more beefy book. I'm really excited. My next two books I have for you guys is two Agatha Christie novels. I have really enjoyed the Agatha Christies I've read so far, so I'm trying to get more and more into Agatha Christie, and I kind of pick them up whenever I see them. And I was walking by my bookstore today and I saw these two were available. The Crooked House and Death in the Clouds. One is Poirot and one is not Poirot. For those of you who are familiar with the Agatha Christie novels and how they're organized, there's like different detectives. I don't know which detective series the Crooked House falls under, but Poirot series, this is one of the books in it. Basically, in this one, a man who is more elderly, him and his family live in this wonderful mansion and everything's happy, good all, and then all of a sudden he dies from being injected with barbiturates, and they have to figure out who was the killer. Pretty stoked about this. Kind of reminds me of the movie with Captain America in it. What's that movie called? Why can't I think today? It's probably The Wig. Most certainly it's The Wig. I love that movie. But yeah, I don't know if it's based off this book, but it reminds me of that. So I'm excited for this. And then this one is about Hercule Poirot, who is of course a detective, one of the main detectives in the Agatha Christie verse. And in this book, basically he's on a plane and the passenger in front of him or behind him is dead, and there's a whole bunch of shady characters around him on the plane, and of course it's it's Poirot's job to figure out who the killer was. So I'm super excited to read both of these books. The next one I have for you guys is my continuing obsession with Paul Tremblay. This is Growing Things by Paul Tremblay. This is his collection of short stories. We've read Devil's Rock, we've read A Head Full of Ghosts, and we've read The Cabin at the End of the World. All three should pop up on the screen now so you guys can see which ones I've read so far. This is the next one that I'm going to be picking up by him. It's a collection of short stories. I love Paul Tremblay. He's one of my all-time favorite authors at the moment, so I'm really excited to pick this up. Next, I have The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. This is a classic. I assume, I feel like the fantasy book nerds, we all kind of agree that this is a classic of the genre. It is about a goblin. He's like fifth in line to the throne, or fourth in line to the throne, and he's kind of been shunned away and outcasted by his family, and he kind of lives on the edge of court life. But when his father and all of his brothers get murdered, or die accidentally, he has to take on the throne and take on its responsibilities, but he enters into a court life that he is unfamiliar with, and in addition to that, he doesn't know who to trust, since basically everyone that was destined to take the throne died in an accident, which that never happens, people, let's be honest here. So, both excited to pick up both of these. The last book I have for you is Anne Leckie's The Raven Tower, and I'm super excited for this book because I'm really in love with the idea of it. Basically, from what I've understood, it's about this kingdom that's been around for a long time, and a usurper takes the throne. This kingdom is protected by this god known as the Raven, and the Raven has seemingly abandoned them. But when the true heir to the throne and a priestess, I think, I'm unsure about this, guys, don't quote me on this, they band together to basically enter the Raven's Tower, which I think is like their shrine to the god, maybe, and try and restore order and get the proper heir on the throne. So I just like the whole idea of gods and the religion stuff. It just sounds interesting. So I'm excited for this one. So those are the first 9 books that I picked up. So I'm super excited to start reading them, hopefully sometime in the next upcoming months. But that is the first video I have for you guys today in this book haul. I didn't want to make it super long, so we're breaking it up. So this is part 1. Be sure to stay tuned for part 2. That will also be here, and I might address the wig in part 2. Undetermined at the moment, but we'll wait to see what happens, people. Okay, be excited, be stoked. Okay, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe. If you guys are old to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, and if you guys are already liked and subscribed, be sure to comment down below what are your guys' thoughts on the books I was able to pick up in this haul. Which one should I be putting on my TBR? What are your guys' thoughts? Please let me know. I love reading them. With that, I always see you guys in a few seconds because I'm literally gonna like, you know, do the thing and then like go grab more books. So like it's gonna be real quick. So, but you guys might see it tomorrow. I don't know what to say. I can't make any promises here, people, okay? I'm not in control.